Today we discover a story where a quiet life is shattered by an extraordinary secret. Samuel Washington, a humble hospital worker, loses his beloved wife Lorraine, only to find she's left behind not just memories, but a hidden fortune meant to change the world. Shock turns to courage as Samuel faces elite families, social prejudice, and the pressures surrounding his son's high-stakes wedding. In a breathtaking moment, dignity triumphs over wealth, reshaping relationships and forging an unforgettable legacy. Lorraine's fortune becomes a force for good, sparking a foundation that lifts children and unites communities. Grief gives way to hope as ordinary routines transform into lifelong impact, and one small family's love ripples through an entire city. Subscribe and hit like. Our powerful stories add years to your life. Join our Story Lovers Club and let us know in the comments, where are you listening from? Imagine a scream so powerful, so raw, that it doesn't just bounce off hospital walls. It slices through them, leaving jagged edges of fear and pain behind. That was Amanda's cry. It was not the sound of someone who stubbed a toe, or even someone who'd lost a loved one. It was the sound of a soul being torn apart at the seams. Her voice, unlike any alarm or code red, knifed through the sterile corridors of the hospital, weaving through chairs, hitting the windows, and making every single heart inside the building beat out of rhythm. People turned to stone. Nurses, pens in hand, froze mid-scribble as the force of her anguish washed over them. A young mother, mid-feed, stopped entirely, breath hardly escaping her lips, her eyes wide with dread. Even the ever-ticking clock seemed to pause, time holding its breath in anticipation. Amanda's suffering was not merely physical, and everyone around her could sense it. Doctors rushed, one dropping a stethoscope carelessly to the floor, another whispering urgently, "Is she dying?" But it wasn't Amanda's body that was surrendering. It was something deeper, more elusive, an invisible wound that left even seasoned professionals helpless. Her eyes, glassy and wide, fixed on a vision only she could see, as if witnessing a reality out of phase with everyone else's. When her hands clawed at her chest and her legs convulsed, silence grew even heavier. She opened her mouth again, searching for release, but only haunting silence emerged. A nearby doctor, sweat dotting his brow, murmured with trembling lips, "There's no diagnosis for this. This is something beyond my training." In this sterile, rational world of medicine, Amanda's agony announced the arrival of something none of them could treat. To understand the origin of Amanda's pain, rewind the clock to 3 months prior. Amanda was never the kind of person to let life defeat her. Raised in the floating labyrinth of Makoko, Lagos, a place where the water itself carried disease, and hope was as rare as sunlight beneath storm clouds, she stood out. Where others surrendered to bleakness, Amanda burned with stubborn ambition. While waterborne illness snatched dreams before they had a chance to breathe, Amanda was out hustling long before dawn, selling sachet water atop corrugated roofs, heaving bricks shoulder to shoulder with men twice her size, or sprinting barefoot through Ojibwa, hawking plants to irritable commuters stuck in traffic jams. "I go school," she would chant to herself, voice lifting her above despair. "Even if death remains, I go still try." One sweltering day found Amanda lugging cement bags at a bustling construction site when fate rolled up in a sleek black Jeep. The man inside radiated the kind of wealth that made people simultaneously curious and cautious. His belly pressed against his polished Gucci belt, dark sunglasses concealing eyes that seemed to calculate every risk, every possibility. The gray sky only heightened his aura of mystery. "Can I know your name, pretty lady?" he purred, words slicing through the city's chaos. Amanda, unamused and always vigilant, hesitated before replying. "Amanda?" she finally offered, wary but unflinching. A smile crept across his face. "You've got the spirit of a lion." "I admire that. A woman who works hard and knows her worth." Amanda shifted, the heavy sack digging into her shoulder, feeling both exposed and oddly seen. She'd crossed paths with smooth-talking men before, rich, persuasive, always dangling opportunities like carrots in front of desperate people. But this time, something felt different. Her hard-earned skepticism pushed her to stand firm. "Thanks," she replied, forcing calm into her tone. "But I don't need special favors. I'm just fine doing things my way." The stranger's laughter was soft, perhaps a little too knowing. He removed his sunglasses, revealing eyes sharp with ambition. "I didn't offer a handout," he assured her. "I'm offering something bigger. You have drive, Amanda. I see it. Have you ever imagined channeling that strength into something beyond this? Something that could transform your life?" Amanda's heart pounded, but her face remained impassive, unwilling to give away her curiosity or her hope. As the stranger's words echoed in the humid afternoon, Amanda's mind became a battleground. Ambition warred with suspicion. She thought of her family, her mother, stoic but tired, her little brother, eyes bright with dreams, yet dulled by hunger. Could this opportunity be genuine? Or was it a snare, one of those dangerous games that preyed on the hopes of the poor? The man offered her a card, the gold letters almost glowing. "Mr. Bishop, Talent Scout." Amanda's fingers trembled as she took it. "Think about it," he said, voice honey smooth. As swiftly as he'd appeared, the stranger melted back into the city's swirl of dust, money, and secrets. Amanda was left alone, nerves jangling, magnetized by hope but shackled by doubt, fearful of being naive, yet desperate to believe this might be her break. For days, Amanda's life became a circle of restlessness. She stared at the card each night, its polished surface promising everything she longed for: escape, dignity, possibility. Her mother noticed the change. "Amanda, why are you so restless? Has something happened?" Amanda hesitated, then shared her encounter with Mr. Bishop. A heavy silence settled between them. Her mother's hands, cracked from laundry, covered Amanda's. "My daughter," she whispered. "The world is quick to promise, but slow to deliver, especially to girls like us. Let your mind rule your heart, but do not let fear be your only guide." That wisdom haunted Amanda's dreams. After nights lying awake, weighing hope against heartbreak, Amanda made up her mind. At dawn, wearing her cleanest dress and a prayer in her heart, she set out to find Mr. Bishop's office. Mr. Bishop's office was in a part of Lagos Amanda had never seen before. Gleaming glass towers, air rich with the perfume of money and ambition. Every step Amanda took felt defiant, a challenge to the city that had tried to swallow her whole. The receptionist, a woman with high cheekbones and an accent as crisp as her suit, barely looked up. "Name?" When Amanda answered, her voice was steady, her posture firm. Soon after, Bishop himself appeared, the same calculating grin on his face. He welcomed Amanda with unexpected warmth, gesturing her into a bright room where dreams were spun into contracts. "Amanda, I said you had potential," he said. "If you trust me, your life will never be the same. But understand, nothing in this world comes easy." Amanda nodded, hope blooming, fear lingering, the old Lagos doubts gnawing at her heart. The first test of Amanda's resolve came swiftly. Bishop handed her a script. "Read," he instructed. Amanda's hands shook, but her eyes didn't waver. The words were foreign. Something about overcoming odds, fighting for love, refusing to quit. As she spoke, she poured her whole being into each line, letting her life scars color her performance. Bishop watched, silent but intent. Minutes felt like hours. When she finished, the room fell silent, except for the soft hum of the city outside. Bishop finally clapped, slow and deliberate. "You were born for this." Amanda's heart soared, but with it came a shadow. What did she have to sacrifice for this future? In the quiet of the evening, just as the lights of Lagos were beginning to reflect on the murky surface of the lagoon, Amanda returned home tired, but filled with anxiety. The light wooden door closed behind her, and she noticed an envelope with her mother's uneven handwriting on the table. The letter was short, but each word was like a thread connecting the past with the present. "My girl, your courage is my pride. Even if you go a long way, never forget where your voice came from. I pray for your happiness and believe in you." Amanda felt a familiar warmth and pain in her chest at the same time. She understood that someone else's world would not overshadow what was deep inside her. Tears streamed down her face, but now they were tears of strength. With this letter, she was ready to face any test. Her mother's love became her protection. The glamour of Bishop's world sparkled on its surface, but beneath the gloss, Amanda sensed undercurrents of danger. She quickly learned that every offer came with conditions. There were whispers about other girls who vanished after a single audition, about debts that grew like weeds rather than shrank. Amanda clung to her mother's words, trusting her instincts, refusing to be dazzled by empty promises. Lessons bloom. Yet inside her grew an ache. She wanted more than survival. She wanted respect, purpose, and freedom. The temptation to leap toward each new opportunity wrestled with her determination to remain grounded. She saw the way Bishop watched her, calculating, as if measuring the depth of her desperation, the height of her dreams. Try as she might, Amanda couldn't shake the voices of doubt. On darker nights, she remembered her younger brother, sick with fever, the weight of responsibility pressing down. The city was full of children like him, nameless and invisible, fighting daily battles for food, for shelter, for another sunrise. Amanda realized she was now also fighting for them, for the chance to break through the ceiling that held Makoko's children in perpetual shadow. She trained harder, studied every word, every emotion, her ambition sharpening into a weapon. But still, she feared the cost. Would winning mean sacrificing the people she loved most? Would it force her to betray the community that raised her? Bishop's expectations intensified as Amanda's talent shone brighter. Casting agents began to call. One day, Amanda was sent to a film set by the lagoon. The director, a stern woman with a powerful presence, ran the set like a military operation. Amanda felt small. Cameras glared like eyes, and every misplaced step drew criticism. Bruce, a veteran actor with skin the color of rich mahogany, offered her comfort. "Don't let them break you," he whispered while sipping hot tea. "They will challenge your worth, but you know who you are." Amanda clung to Bruce's advice as the days grew longer and competition became fiercer. It was in these moments, amid pressure, she discovered reservoirs of strength she never knew she had. Bruce wasn't just a colleague. He became Amanda's defender in a world that tried to isolate the ambitious. He taught her the language of confidence, the art of walking into a room and owning it. They practiced lines late into the night, pockets of laughter breaking through tension and anxiety. Amanda began to see how talent, once nurtured, could blossom even in barren soil. She understood the power of unity, how a kind word, a small gesture, could change everything. In Bruce's friendship, she found reassurance. In her own determination, she found hope. The grind, the exhaustion, the sacrifices, all of it felt almost bearable with someone by her side. One evening, Amanda received a call from Bishop himself. He wanted her for a leading role, a story about a woman who defied fate, fought injustice, and triumphed against overwhelming odds. The script, raw and brutally real, echoed Amanda's life. She grappled with self-doubt. Could she carry this story? Was she ready? Bishop's voice was smooth, persistent. "This is your moment, Amanda. Make it count." Lagos is watching. Amanda closed her eyes, remembering the waters of Makoko, her mother's prayers, her brother's fragile smile. She made her decision. She would step into this new life, carrying both her pain and her dreams, determined to show everyone what was possible. The set was alive with nervous energy by sunrise. Amanda arrived early, the air sticky with humidity and expectation. Today was her first day in the starring role. Technicians coiled cables like serpents. Wardrobe assistants pressed costumes. The director's voice echoed commands. Amanda tried to steady her trembling hands as her face was brushed with foundation and hope. The script's first scene required her to weep, and as the cameras rolled, the tears came easily, memories bubbling up. Makoko, her mother's smile beneath the weight of suffering, the sacrifices woven into each day. The performance stunned the crew. The director, usually cold and clinical, pressed her hand and whispered, "You are the heart of this story." For Amanda, it felt like she was finally telling the truth of thousands, channeling not just her pain, but the collective grief and resilience of a forgotten people. Success, Amanda quickly discovered, brought fresh trials. The supporting actors viewed her with envy. Some dismissed her as the charity hire. Crew members snickered behind her back about how Bishop looked out for his favorite. Amanda felt trapped between gratitude and pride. She wanted to prove herself without bending to anyone's pity or prejudice. Even Bruce, her only confidant, seemed distant as pressure mounted and egos clashed. Still, Amanda focused on the work, letting each take become a declaration of her worth. When discouraged, she whispered her mother's prayer: strength for today, hope for tomorrow. It became a mantra, fortifying her in moments of loneliness and doubt. As days passed, whispers of Amanda's performance spread through the set and out into the city. Rumors reached Makoko. Children gathered by flickering radios to hear of their neighbor who might become a star. Amanda felt their hope surging through her, mingling with her own longing. Lagos itself seemed to awaken. People debated her, judged her, dreamed with her. With every scene, Amanda fought to honor the faith so many had placed in her. She wondered, sometimes in the quiet of her dressing room, if she could really bear the weight of all their dreams, that fragile balance between individual success and communal responsibility. Would triumph bring relief, or new burdens she had not expected? The filming wrapped, and the city's energy shifted, trembling with anticipation for the premiere. Amanda saw her own face on posters, along highways, in run-down neighborhoods, on glittering billboards near Victoria Island. She moved through Lagos as both herself and a stranger, heartsick, yet hopeful, recognized by children and elders alike. People smiled, cheered, and stopped her in the street. Some thanked her for representing Makoko, for shattering stereotypes. Others asked for money and advice. Fame felt bittersweet. Her privacy shrank, and the pressure grew. Amanda resolved to remain the woman she always was, grateful, grounded, and fiercely protective of her family and roots. Opening night glimmered with possibility. Lessons bloom. Amanda slipped into her borrowed gown, her heart hammering as she stood before the mirror, recalling the girl who once rushed barefoot through muddy streets. Bishop appeared, beaming at her transformation. "You made this possible," he said, though Amanda knew it was her grit as much as his vision. The theater buzzed with every class and tribe. Makoko elders sat beside city elite. Amanda stepped onto the stage, swept by the ovation. As the film unfolded, her story and Makoko's struggles played out in luminous color. Amanda saw tears on familiar faces and felt the beginning of something new. Redemption, for herself and for everyone who had believed that impossible could be conquered. The days after the premiere unfolded in a rush. Amanda's phone never stopped buzzing. Journalists, producers, old friends, and strangers from Makoko all reached out. Newspapers splashed her image on front pages, lauding how she'd brought dignity and depth to her character. Amanda watched her mother read the praise aloud to neighbors, pride gleaming in her eyes. But not all the reactions were gentle. Social media swirled with trolls, doubters, and people who called Amanda an outsider or a fluke. The tide washed over Amanda, threatening to drown her spirit. Each harsh word stung, but she kept reading anyway, determined to learn who she was becoming in the eyes of the world. New opportunities came rushing toward Amanda, some genuine, others full of risk. Lavish party invitations, secret proposals from men with power, contracts with lines written in legalistic fog. Bruce warned her to be careful, to never sign anything she didn't fully read. Amanda clung to her values, recalling the hunger in Makoko, the way Bishop's first offer had come with strings. She turned down what felt wrong, endured whispers of arrogance. She sometimes sat awake at night, wondering if her success was exposing her to greater threats than she'd ever known, choices that might have consequences she couldn't predict. Finally, Amanda returned to Makoko, passing through streets that seemed both familiar and transformed by hope. Children flocked to her, some waving posters of the film, some clutching old photographs. Her mother wept openly in the doorway, gathering Amanda into a hug that seemed to last centuries. Amanda felt the pressure melt away. Here, among the noise, the river, the crowded wooden homes, she was reminded of her roots. Lessons bloom. She gave a speech in the schoolyard, telling children and parents, "If you dream, let the whole city feel it. If you fight, do it with love." Her words traveled like ripples, planting seeds in young hearts, affirming that change could spring from the humblest foundation. Bishop called Amanda for a private meeting. His office was cooled by imported air, walls lined with trophies. He praised her resilience, saying, "You've made Makoko proud. You've made me proud." Amanda listened carefully, aware that praise often led to new expectations. Lessons bloom. Bishop wanted her to audition again, this time for a story rooted in politics and the struggle for justice in Nigeria's slums. Amanda hesitated, torn between gratitude and the need to control her own destiny. She weighed his words, feeling how each promise held both hope and danger. She agreed, but set new terms. She would choose her own projects, prioritize stories that mattered, and protect her family first. Amanda poured her growing resources into Makoko. She helped renovate homes, sponsor scholarships, and fund a community theater. At night, when the work was done, she returned to her small house, resting beside her mother and brother. Though the world wanted her to become prophet, Amanda chose purpose. She listened to the young actresses who now looked to her for guidance, urging them to treasure their dignity above acclaim. Amanda understood that the true triumph was not just her own transformation, but how she could empower others. Her journey became a lighthouse, shimmering in darkness, guiding countless souls toward dreams they had barely dared to imagine. With her growing influence, Amanda found her days busier and her choices weightier than ever before. Community leaders came seeking advice. Aspiring actors asked for auditions. International charities requested her presence. Each decision felt like a balancing act on a narrow plank over deep water. Amanda missed the simple rhythms of Makoko, the taste of grilled plantain by the water, her mother's gentle laughter, her brother's small hands reaching for hers. She reminded herself constantly that she wasn't invincible. Still, Amanda knew that sharing her light could help others ignite their own, so she pressed on, aware that true leadership meant both sacrifice and humility. Just as Amanda was finding her stride, grief struck. Bruce, her mentor and confidant, suffered a stroke and passed away quietly in his sleep. The news hollowed Amanda's heart, sending her spiraling into silent sorrow. She visited his family, sitting with them through candle-lit evenings, Bruce's wisdom echoing in her memory. The city mourned too. Tributes filled newspapers, and actors shared stories about his kindness. Amanda felt his absence acutely on set, missing his steady support and laughter. But she carried his lessons forward, refusing to let sadness close her off to new possibilities and people who needed her strength. Amanda decided to honor Bruce with a special stage production in Makoko, casting local youth and inviting the city's elite. The night of the performance, lanterns swayed above the water, the air vibrant with pride and anticipation. Amanda shared powerful monologues and stories of courage, weaving Bruce's teachings into every scene. When the audience rose in applause, Amanda glimpsed tears in the eyes of elders and children alike. Art had become bridge, healing Makoko and opening new doors. Amanda felt hope radiating from the crowd as dreams took root where despair had so often bloomed. As the months passed, Amanda's fame settled into something richer, a reputation for integrity, vision, and compassion. She began to think about what her legacy truly meant. Big film studios offered her roles that clashed with her values. Politicians tried to court her influence for their own gain. Amanda stood firm, refusing easy paths. International organizations invited her to speak about Makoko and the struggle for equity. Though intimidating, Amanda accepted, determined to amplify the voices of her people. She realized her story would never belong solely to her. It was woven into the fabric of Makoko, shining through the hearts of many. One quiet morning, as the sun gilded the lagoon, Amanda stood beside her mother and watched her brother play. The future felt uncertain but promising. Challenges still loomed, but Amanda had learned to face them with patience and faith. She smiled, feeling both the weariness and wonder of her journey. From a girl running barefoot through Makoko's alleys, she had become a beacon for many. Lessons bloomed. Amanda knew the road ahead would demand courage, but she was ready. In her eyes, the light of possibility glimmered, proof that even the smallest spark could change an entire city, and that hope, once kindled, could be passed from hand to hand across generations. With every month, Amanda's world expanded. She was asked to join the board of a new arts foundation dedicated to nurturing talent from marginalized neighborhoods. The honor felt heavy, not just with hope, but with bureaucratic challenges. Amanda learned to speak in meetings, negotiate sponsorships, and protect the vision of empowerment. Some board members doubted her experience, but she told stories from Makoko, stories that moved even cynics to tears. Amanda's leadership style blended warmth and firmness, stubbornly advocating for scholarships and safe creative spaces. Slowly, trust grew. Amanda realized that success was not about being seen, but learning to guide and uplift others. As Amanda's public role grew, life in Makoko changed. Her mother worried about security. Her brother faced jealousy from classmates. Rumors swirled about Amanda's wealth and motives. She did her best to reassure her family, opening up more about the pressures she faced. Often, Amanda spent sleepless nights helping with homework, attending local meetings, and playing games along the lagoon. She wanted her family to feel supported, not overshadowed. Amanda learned that her roots were her strength, and every day she strove to remind her loved ones that she was still the daughter and sister they had always known. A crisis struck when a fire swept through part of Makoko, destroying homes and leaving families devastated. Amanda sprang into action, using her network and influence to secure emergency relief, organize volunteers, and coordinate with city officials. On the ground, she listened to mothers' fears, shared food, and led fundraising drives. Cameras recorded her work, but what mattered most to Amanda was restoring dignity and hope to those who had lost everything. The tragedy renewed her commitment to her community, reminding her that true progress was measured not in fame, but in tangible acts of compassion. Lessons bloom. In the aftermath of the fire, Amanda helped establish an education center built on stilts above the lagoon. She recruited teachers, gathered donations, and involved local youth in designing programs. The center became a haven. Children learned arts, science, and storytelling. Parents found support and resources. Amanda saw girls and boys who had once felt invisible now writing their own scripts and painting their own futures. Sometimes she sat quietly, watching students discover their voices for the first time, and remembered her own timid beginnings. Her life had become a circle. What she received, she now gave in abundance. On the anniversary of her first film premiere, Amanda hosted a celebration for Makoko. Laughter echoed along the waterfront as musicians played, dancers performed, and old friends reunited. Amanda stood before the crowd, admitting she was nervous about what the next year might bring. She spoke of the city's struggles and triumphs, urging everyone to claim their dreams and lift each other. The applause that followed was both joyful and grateful. Amanda felt fulfilled, knowing she had built something lasting. Not just a career, but a legacy of community, courage, and hope. Her journey was not finished, but the light she carried was brighter than ever.